Well, this gave me some Psycho vibes. Man, I am completely surprised of on how good this is. Going in, like when I watched the trailer, I honestly thought that it would be an alright movie, not one of those cheesy horror flicks filled with jump scares. But I was like, okay, it's a remake of, I know they've tried this before, but the one I know is like the Hollow Man, which was a variation of the original source material. But again, at the end of the day, I was like, okay, I that's where I know it from. But from the trailer, it looks like okay, it's more current. I know more for today's time. But at the end of the day, it should be just okay, good time at the movies, no harm done. And man, this movie is around like 2 hours, two maybe a bit more, but around 2 hours. And I gotta say, for those 2 hours, I was, or I should say, I kept getting surprised of how this movie actually never lets you get bored or never lets you rest. I mean, from the opening scene to the end, this one character, and I gotta say, Elizabeth Moss killed it. It's she's basically the main reason. There are other elements to the movie that the reason the movie works, but the movie, all of it has to work if her character works, and it's believable, and it comes through as believable. And or should say, the most important thing for her character to be is that we gotta feel what she's going through, and I felt it. Man, there are times that this movie kind of throws these curveballs at you and these events that happen, and you really wonder, like, okay, how are things gonna go from here? She, like, her character really gets dragged down to hell. She really, like, you see her trying to climb out of it, and she just keeps going down further and further and further. And it's done beautifully as it's more of a psychological piece, you can even say. There are, as I said, there are a lot of elements, not a blatant copy, but you can see it's like Psycho mixed with other things, but or not really like the movie Psycho itself, but the ambience of Psycho, how it treated the viewer, that suspense, not relying on the jump scares, but the psychological aspect of it. That's what this movie does, because all this time, the Invisible Man, there's obviously not right away, but after a few scenes, there's this camera movement in one scene, and that's basically the key to, like, okay, now he's here. And there's no sound, there's nothing. It's just this wide shot, and the camera just moves along, and you basically have to look at all these different things and try to figure out, okay, where is he? And all this while, things are happening, and it's can be done in a way that doesn't give you tension. Like, it's more like towards cheesy, and they don't really make use of the sounds and what's actually happening in the scene. But here they do that, and that is the reason all of it works. And also, as I said, it's her journey to basically have someone actually believe her that this is happening. And you actually understood both sides. You understand her because we know, okay, it is happening, and there are events that happen that, we're sure and we're sure. There are times, though, that the movie will make you question, and it's good. It's good that you really feel like, okay, is she losing her mind or is she not? And then there's also that aspect of, hey, okay, if we want to believe her, but we also want to believe someone else, or her friends or her family. And because it's absurd what she's saying, and the other character, it's like they're sitting there, like, it's not like a ghost. She's actually saying that person is still alive, So that a whole aspect of it, and how they treat the Invisible Man, it was like a thing, an entity that's there, and even when it's there and when you see it, it's done in a way that is, I believe, the right way of doing it. And yeah, it's kept surprising me on that end. The acting was top notch, and for once, usually you have all these friends that are getting killed, and it's the usual, like, oh, like, oh, she's gonna die first, or he's gonna die first, and we just know it. They went away from that cliche. I can't recall, or I've tried hard enough, just sat here for like an hour thinking, okay, if there was something that's really cliche about this movie, and there is not. It strayed away from all the cliches. It didn't go into this, like, oh, he's touching there and he's touching that, and that nonsense sexual things that can. And if you remember Hollow Man, there was that thing. They went away from it, and they stayed true to the movie itself, and in a way you can even say that they respected the movie that they're making, and it really showed. Now, my one problem, if there is a problem, and for me, it was not a nitpick. This is not me nitpicking it. Look, from the start, there are some aspects of the movie, or rules you can even say, that the movie sets. And okay, like, they're using these things, I'll keep it to that, and they're gonna use this throughout the movie. And then they do. There are scenes where they use this one thing. And you're like, okay. But then there are other scenes where if someone actually just used that one thing, they would have believed her. And I'll leave it to that because I don't want to spoil it. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm overthinking it, but it just bothered me that I understand if those rules weren't set, as I said, but if that one rule is being set, then you have to go along with it throughout the movie. And it did seem like that there were a couple of scenes, 2 scenes very importantly, where they could have used that one thing and they did not, just for the sake of kind of forwarding the story. So that kind of bugs me, it's still bugging me, and I wish they would have found a way or another way to do it. But yeah, that's my one nitpick, and that's my only nitpick about the movie. If there's only that, a negative, I gotta say, that is one. I would actually make into a negative, that bothered me. But other than that, you know what? Definitely watch this movie. It is nail biting at times. If I was literally like eating my popcorn faster than usual, because the movie kept me in this tense state from the start to the end, and it never gave you the answer, or never, at least to me, it never felt like I knew where this movie is gonna go. It kept surprising me to the end, to the last scene, it kept me in this surprised state. So yeah, this movie is damn excellent. Minus than one negative, but it's really good. I'm going to go 9 out of 10. Yeah. Ugh. Please go watch this movie. You will love it. So with that, everyone, hope you liked my review. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all later. Ta-ta.